Diversity, Equity, Belonging, and Inclusion for Migrant Families. Timothy Barber, Johnston Community College. Every child is entitled to an education. The education must be equitable and without prejudice. The education must promote their unlimited developmental and knowledge growth to the student's fullest potential. Paramount to obtaining this relationship with the student is creating and nurturing a relationship with the child's family. There are roadblocks for migrant students and their families. First, there's a language barrier. English may not be a language that they understand. There are also bilingual families. Perhaps the child is learning English, but the parents do not understand. There also may be racial and cultural biases within the school classroom and within the school system that must be overcome. There may be no previous education. Perhaps entering elementary school for the first time, there has been no previous preschool. One must also work with the work schedules for the migrant families. Many may be at work before school starts and continue long after the school day ends. Work migration is also an issue, as families may move from one area to another area following the crop cycle throughout the country. The teacher must be responsible. Every teacher should create a classroom atmosphere for students and their families which reflect a feeling of belonging for the child and the family, a feeling of equity, acceptance, and inclusion. The inclusion of migrant families in the school begins with the teacher. Each teacher must perform a self-examination of their own personal biases. They must learn what they can about the family. They should invite families to volunteer in their classroom. They should invite families to observe their child in class. Due to the different language barriers, each classroom newsletter should be available in both English and the language of the child's family. And by all means, include the migrant families by inviting the families to share their culture with the rest of the class. Preparation equals success. Beginning of a child's education starts before the classroom. Teacher must prepare the migrant families for school. The teacher must prepare the migrant children for the school. And the teacher must prepare the fellow students and the classroom for the migrant child and family. Preparing for migrant families for school begins with home visitation. Due to the mobility of the family, few preschool opportunities may have existed before the child's entry into the school. Teachers may be the only opportunity and find themselves starting from scratch. Perhaps the child does not know how to color within lines or even hold a pencil. Some may not have ever found a pencil in their hands before. Dual language home barrier requires that the teacher bring in an interpreter if they do not understand the child or the family's language. And before school begins, a series of meetings must be held in Spanish with the families. The curriculum, home learning activities, goals must be shared with the family, as well as receiving feedback from the family. The teacher must educate the parents on the professional education process. They may have never been in a school system before. And establishing a trusting rapport that relays a positive message of mutual attentive regard for the child is a must. Trust is a must. The teacher just at that point must begin preparing migrant children for school. First, they must meet the children where they are. They must use a bilingual teacher aide at first. The first assessment on a child should be done in the child's native Spanish language. It must be understood. It must not be scary. It must be welcoming. And from that point, the teacher may build on the skills recognized that the child possesses from their native language. Next, the teacher must prepare the fellow students and the classroom for the migrant child and their families. They should stock bookshelves with child's and the child's native languages. Family photos from each child should be posted around the classroom. Recruit the bilingual families to post labels with proper and phonetic spelling throughout the classroom. Teachers should play music from each child's country and learn key words in the child's native language. They should post picture communication boards to help the child express their feelings. All these make the child feel valued, the family feel valued, and heard. Some examples of books that are excellent for migrant family in a child's classroom. How are you? ¿Cómo estás? This book tells the story of two giraffes meeting an ostrich at a zoo. One giraffe asks the ostrich questions, and the second giraffe repeats the questions in Spanish. Answering in English and Spanish, the ostrich is happy to find two new friends. This is a wonderful way of bringing the child into the classroom setting of both languages and learning from both. Another example of a book is Whoever You Are. This book brings to the child's attention that all over the world people look different, live differently, and speak different languages. The book then relates that everyone has the same emotions and that everyone laughs and hurts. The book includes that each person will change into a different person as they grow older. Another good book, All Kinds of Children by Norma Simon. This book relates how all children are the same and the way they have the same wants and needs. Food, shelter, clothing, and love from family and community are the needs every child has. The book also explains how all children are playing and having friends. Books such as these gives each child something that they can relate to and gives them value.